Welcome back to Freedom Formula, where today we have a very special guest, Marissa. And I have to say, I always check out everybody's social media profile. I'm like, all right, what's going on? Who do I get to chat with? What are they like? And your profile screamed politics. And I'm super excited to be able to dive into that a little bit because I always, and obviously we were chatting a little bit of how today is going to go, but I always just say, like, hey, nothing is off limits. Let's just chat. Let's have some fun. We're not here to offend anybody. We're just here to provide some thought provoking conversation, some value, and maybe somebody's going to learn something out of this. Obviously, we're going to hit on our health, our wealth, our relationships, and those key components today. But I feel like we're going to chat about some politics today. That's exciting for me. I know I'm going to learn something new. But Marissa, thanks for coming on. Who are you? Why are you here? What are you focusing on these days? Like, why do we get to chat and hang out for the next 30 to 40 minutes or so?
Yeah, my name is Marisa Simonetti. My background is business. I have a degree in psychology. I'm a mother, and I was a first time political candidate. Never thought I would ever be involved in politics in 2024, just as a response to some local issues that I saw that I thought, okay, as a mother, I should do something or I should stop complaining. So we kind of have that in common, Steve. You're a firefighter. If you're in politics, you're also running for the fire.
Oh, yeah.
Metaphorically, I'm not putting my physical life in danger like you, but
I mean, there's a mental well being, I would say, that's maybe in danger, and it's like I joined the education foundation in town just to help with my daughter and raising funds for the school systems, and it was just pure chaos, the politics within stuff like that. So I completely understand what you're saying, even though I haven't necessarily gone for like the true political route of running into some type of office or whatnot. But I think that's freaking cool that you're like, hey, I'm either going to complain or go try to do something about it. So, can we jump into that out of the gates? Like, what was the thing that really forced you to go take some action and be like, this is something I want to do?
yeah. So I volunteer in my son's classroom. I go to his events, and it was really talking with one of the teachers about I live in a nice area, and they were saying we don't have money for our to have school nurses. And I'm looking around, and you just see how much even the kids are outside playing, and she's inside not taking a break. She's serving, she's prepping like all day long. She's going, and the nurses are their support staff. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, well, hold on a second. These are the people that we've entrusted our most like precious, our kids to. They're priceless, and we're running them ragged. Like, no, like that's not cool at all. So it were little things like that that I was seeing, and just when something kind of bothers your spirit,
Yeah.
and you're like, you got to do something here. So I was talking with a friend about it, and my friend who works in elections was like, well, actually, in your the strangest coincidence, out of 7 districts in my county, the one that I lived in had a special election, and the deadline was at the end of the weekend. And when you know that like you're supposed to go this direction, but you don't know why and you don't know anything about it,
Yep.
I knew I was supposed to run in the special election.
Huh.
So I went down and filed on the Monday, the day before the deadline. There were 5 other candidates, and it was, I kind of just laughed. I was like, ha ha ha, right? Like, what did I just do? But it was a wild adventure. I messaged my one friend who I know is involved in politics and was like, hey, I lost a bet. I'm going to be on the ballot. Help. And it was off to the races.
Okay. Very cool. So, not enough staff. Ultimately, the nurses and things like that was really that catalyst, which makes sense. And I think there's so many times where people are just like, oh, there's not enough, there's this, or just do that, or whatever the case may be, but they're not willing to actually invest the time to go take the action. I know in town, one of the ongoing conversations here with our school system is replacing all of our fields with the artificial turf. Every single year, and this and that. It's like, oh, are we going to do it? Who's going to vote it? Do we vote yes? Do we vote no? And everybody's complaining about it. I always get entertainment out of the Facebook groups of like everybody's comments and like, I don't have kids here. We shouldn't spend the money. And it's just like, everybody's got a valid point. I disagree with some of their points, but like we got to think about some big pictures, and it's even the why should I spend this money? I don't have a kid. Well, your home's going to be worth more, right? But then that person can turn around and
Ah,
go like, oh, well, my home's going to be worth more, which now means I have to pay more in taxes. So then I have to pay even more money. And it's like, there's not a perfect yes or no ever. It's about what's the best decision for the holistic of whatever it is you're dealing with. And I find so many people are just so polarized in today's world. I mean, just you listen to the news and it's black or white or whatever just all the time. But I always find it fascinating to like learn those things. So like going through the process, what was one or two things that you maybe learned or didn't expect, or things that were maybe surprising to you?
first I'm wondering, did you guys get the turf?
Half of the fields are getting turf.
Only half?
Half of the fields.
What? What is it like? This half is turf and this half. What?
It's, I mean, we have a lot of field. So like the football field and everything like that, one field. Then there's one, two, three, four baseball fields. Then there's another two like little league fields. So there's literally like 7 fields worth of grass versus turf and things like that. So I think we're getting like 3 of them are going to get turf on there, and then the other 4 eventually. So
Right. So it'll be a
it'll be
process.
a process.
So that you guys kind of found a way to find a win-win.
Got in the middle. Yeah, we were like, all right, what's the most important one? And then kind of slowly work from there. So,
Huh. Interesting.
yeah.
Could be one approach. You look like you're not so sure about that.
You know, in my mind, I look at the big picture and I'm like, all right, so we're going to spend money for them to come 3 separate times, which we know equipment, all these components. Like, we probably could have outfitted 2 more extra fields somewhere if we just did it all at once type mentality. Um,
Yeah.
but at the same point, it's like, all right, we're going to spend some more money now, just go down that road. And I'm one of those people, like, I'm more, how do I get my house to be worth more? How do we give the kids a better experience? How do we reduce the likelihood of injuries? And in my mind, there's also a savings from a maintenance on the field perspective. So like there was some of that like net gain somewhere that we might get, but no one could ever answer those questions. It's like, well, how much do we spend maintaining the fields every year? I don't know. Well, how do you not know that? Like, isn't that a important piece of this discussion to help us make this decision? So those are some of the things where I just, at least the way my brain works, I didn't get my data. So I was kind of like, you know what? My services are probably better left somewhere else, and just tell me what to pay in my taxes and I'm good to go.
Yeah. So that's super interesting. That ties into one of the things I learned is the kind of with costs, there's a lack of accountability. And like if you're in your personal house, you don't know what you're spending on groceries. You don't know what you're spending on your mortgage or your rent. You don't know what you spend on clothes. I mean, anybody would look at that and be like, well, are you gonna be evicted anytime soon? Like, what's going on,
Yeah.
right? Are you gonna go to collections? So to not know, like, knowledge is accountability. And when you have to look at a number and write it down, like your approach sounds so logical. And that was one of the things I found. Some of these things just seem to totally evade common sense and logic. And it's like, here's what it is. It's a lose-lose framework.
Yep.
And what I found with lose-lose situations in any form of life, like if you want to maintain your mental health, your mental sanity, you gotta step out of the framework. So when as I'm running again for public office, I wound up not winning. I kind of got what the other thing you'll find when you run for office is your personal life, especially your first time around. You have ever done anything, you're gonna be torpedoed. And I got the torpedo.
Probably a reason why I'll never run for office.
Oh, it hurt, man, down. But it was an opportunity for me to retool a little bit. And now that that stuff's out of the way, it's like, well, there's nothing new to like say.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's irrelevant and uninteresting. So what are we going to do to make things positive and good? And I'm focusing on what are fun things to do in the community. And is people start to look at the candidates and, you know, before you vote for me or whoever it may be, you're looking at, you know, comprehensively, like what is the picture of what they're doing. And I'm out having fun, spending time with people, like listening, having conversations, and I'm having a great time.
Good. Good. Good.
Yeah.
So you mentioned entrepreneurship and everything as you kind of introduced yourself, and obviously psychology. Tell me a little bit more about that side of you, like entrepreneurship. What do you mean? Where? What do you do? What have you done? Or where do you exist and learn? And then psychology, I always find fascinating. One of my business partners, he's a PhD candidate for psychology, and I always love listening to the things that he's learning because I'm like, wow, that's such a great way to think about it. And I like to translate it into business and entrepreneurship and just leaning into some of those things. So I'm just curious about those.
Yeah, so first off, I'm a single mom. And when you're a single mom, I have a lot of resources, but you learn to be very efficient. And throughout, since I've had my son, my vision has been to purchase rental property, take any extra income I have, and put that into investments that pay me whether each month or quarterly so that I can have freedom of my time. Because ultimately, for me, wealth feels like getting to go and have lunch with my son every other Friday at his school, or to go and volunteer at his classroom, or to go to his music program. It's like setting my own schedule. It's doing right, not being beholden. And that was my vision. My son's 7 now, but what I set out to create. So just like a little bit at a time. I didn't have anything when I started, and my what I started doing was like always paying myself first. So I'd have a percentage, and I think when I started, I was like, okay, I can like put away 10% of everything and still be able to pay all my bills. And very slowly, right over time, it added up, and that was from 2018 to now we're in 2025. So over 7 years, building kind of that discipline, and my 10% increased, right?
Yep.
As you are a wise steward, you will find that to as you will be increased. So yeah, I've just been incredibly blessed and super thankful for that. So business wise, that's what I've done. I've created a social media presence that I'm able to monetize as well. And you just learn skills that are really transferable. So if you, whatever you're doing in your life, you show up and you do your best, like there's no loss in that. You know you did your best. And yeah, I just try, and sometimes I make big mistakes, and but it's that learning curve. And I'm not afraid to just like keep getting up one more time.
I was if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. I've always found my biggest leaps came after I made some big mistake, and it was this big reckoning of like, oh, okay,
Mm.
I now see that differently. I now understand it. And so many people I think rob themselves of the ability to learn and grow because they're just afraid to make that mistake. And I'm not saying the mistake should be like a life altering, like you put your house on the line and lost a bet mistake. But as you're going throughout it, and one of those days where like, man, today was just a bad day. The thing didn't go the way I wanted, the launch, the whatever. On the other side of that, if you're willing to at least say, how could I have been better? How could I have done better? What information did I not know that I now know that I can apply next time? It
Mm.
just makes it harder to fail again. And it should make it impossible to fail the same way again, which is, if you think about it, let me go fail as much as humanly possible on everything one time, because eventually there's not going to be anything else that I can fail at, and I'm just going to go and win. And people don't do that.
How do you apply that concept to the races you do?
Oh, my first race ever was a disaster. My legs were cramping up. I didn't like, I was like, oh, I just need some water. I didn't eat enough. I decided to go party with my friends the night before and have some
Oh
drinks, not enough
no.
sleep. Like it was one of those how hard could it be type situations. And it it's not that hard, but I made it 10 times harder on myself than I needed it to be. So now the training schedule more resembles what I'm weak at. So things cardiovascularly, the endurance, like I'm 240 pounds. So 240 pounds up and down the side of a mountain for 13 miles. That beats you up. It's, capacity wise that you need that, but also what does fuel look like during the race? I used to always be, growing up 80s, 90s, sugar's bad, carbs are bad, it make you fat. So you don't have it, but now you check out my bag and like a third of my bladder is filled with like Gatorade, which is flavored sugar powder, and water. But that sugar and those carbs keep you fueled up through the entire race. Where my first race, which they're all a little bit of a different course, they don't follow the exact same step by step, but you'll get the idea. My first race took me nearly 9 hours to do. My
What time in the
last
morning
race that
did
I
you
did
start?
last year took me a little under 3 hours to do. So
Wow.
you just slowly learn, you train, you do, you fuel, you do all the things you need to do to now be better. And you might need sleep, and you probably shouldn't drink alcohol the day before you have to go and run. So
Yeah. So you cut your time down a third of the time just by having some understanding some of the core things to make yourself the most prepared you could be.
yeah, most prepared. And how do you fuel your body, your mind, do the things you need to do? Um, because sometimes people don't know. Like, you don't know unless you have that health and wellness background of how does your body leverage energy and go, and like simple things, adding sugar, adding Gatorade. I mean, sodium bicarbonate or baking soda, even there's chemical reactions that actually stop your body from kind of absorbing all of the kind of the fluids that end up causing you to get the muscle cramps and whatnot through your legs, through your hips. So even doing that, where it just becomes this block for that stuff, is a hack to be able to do to have more endurance. You don't, most people are like, wait, you drink baking soda? I do a little bit, but it helps. So why not use science?
A teaspoon, a tablespoon in the Gatorade?
Everybody's a little bit different, and you're going to measure it by grams, which like a gram of baking soda, because it's so light, is a lot of baking soda, surprisingly. Everybody's a little bit different, and testing your tolerance is not as fun because you basically have to see how much you can handle until you upset your stomach. um, but the
Oh.
more you can have, the better off it ends up being from an endurance standpoint.
Huh. Does it taste funny?
It's terrible. It's very salty. Very salty.
Salty,
It's
gritty, like
terrible. Everything about it sucks. Everything about it sucks. But when you get to go ahead and stack a bunch of medals behind you to kind of chat on these, then it's like, all right, it was worth the bad experience of that. There's a give and take to everything.
the cost of winning. You like to win.
Absolutely, 100%. I don't know
Ah,
any other way.
I love that. I
So,
love that.
but okay, so entrepreneurship. You mentioned psychology. What Talk to me a little bit about the psychology side of things.
Yeah, so I had started my degree in my early 20s, and then I got into my background's real estate, got into real estate, and I didn't have time or money to do both. So I thought, you know what, I'm about 75% of the way done, but I don't think you need a degree to be successful. In business, a lot of things you learn. And so I put that on pause, and then I had my son, and in 2023, it was that same impulse. I was like, I need to go back and finish my degree, and I wanted to go to law school. That was my plan. Because I saw just like some challenges within the legal system, especially the family courts, that my intention was to go and practice high conflict family law. And you need a bachelor's degree to go to law school. So I went back, I started finishing my degree. I studied 6 months, at least an hour every day for the LSAT, took the LSAT. And the position I ran for in politics actually funds county corrections and the sheriff's department and the justice system. So politics is a way where I can kind of solve that same problem of like, I care about family. Like, that's like deeply at my core what matters to me
Yep.
and motivates me. And so you get to have an influence on like, where do people live? Families live in homes, and county commissioner sets property taxes, and how do you make sure that taxes aren't so burdensome that people can't, it affects their monthly payment so much that it's unaffordable, or all these things, right? So everything is connected, and because politics deals so much with law, it's very similar sort of thing. So yeah, that's why I went back to finish my degree. And last year I was accepted to law school and had to decide, am I going to run again and be on the ballot in November, Or am I going to go to law school? Because you can't be a mom, you can't work, you can't be in law school, you can't be like those things don't all exist together, that reality. So you got to pick. And I said, I'm going to be on the ballot again. I can always go back to law school if I choose, not back, but I could write. I've got my LSAT score, I've got my degree, I can do that. But this is the way I'm going to pick and I'm going to make it the right way.
Okay.
So that's, yeah, I studied family, psychology, trauma, kind of childhood development. That was really my focus.
Okay. I love that. And so many people keep saying yes to so much stuff where you actually started to realize in order for me to do these things, and they're not small things, right? These are big commitments of things. Um, you realized you had to say no in order to be as successful as you could be in those certain areas. And I just think in life, so many people just say yes, 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 more, more, more. Um, but it's a way to almost shield like the what if I'm not successful in these two or three things I'm picking. Um, so I appreciate the fact that you're like, I'm going to focus and I'm going to do these really well. I always still have that thing. I check the box and I can keep it going should the opportunity arise, or maybe once your son, graduates and he's no longer, you don't have to be a full-time mom paying attention and everything like that. And you now just get to worry about phone calls and stuff like that. You still have that chance later on in life.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you decide the things that you say yes to and the things that you say no to?
Ruthlessly understand what is going to help me achieve my goals right now. It
Mm.
just, and if something is not helping me move closer to my goals, then it has to be a no. As much as I might want to say yes, because listen, we're all human and sometimes we just want to have fun, not focus, and do whatever we want. And I'm not saying you can't go do that, but that's like, hey, let's go on a dumb trip for 3 days and just party hard and everything like that. That's clearly not going to help me towards my Spartan race goals, let's say.
Yeah.
But it's also needed. But if you're going to sit here and say, oh, I'm going to commit to this thing for the next 3 years of my life, but half ass it, like, I don't know. Do you want the end of that? Do you want the people that knew you doing that? Do you want to ever question yourself and your ability of what could have been if you fully focused on it? And I don't think a lot of people kind of future pace and think about that as much as they should.
Yeah. Over the last, I'd say, month, the word for me has been like living wholeheartedly.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, there is nothing more exciting in life, very few things on the edge of your seat than living wholeheartedly, because you have to say no to things and you have to be in tune with like what you feel is the right direction for you. And sometimes it's going to be like, oh, like, ouch.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes it's going to be very thrilling. So there's a lot of things in life that people look for drama or excitement from. And I've chosen my excitement is going to come from living in the truth of being wholehearted
Yeah.
and pursuing the highest and best path for myself.
I love that. I Last year I decided to teach myself to day trade, and I've wanted to better understand the stock markets because I understand investing really, really well. I get it. You buy something low, over time it's going to go high, and we know anything on the stock market, unless it goes bankrupt, basically, is going to eventually grow at some point in time. But I was like, I don't fully understand it. I want to understand it better. And I also like everybody says like short selling stocks and like I get it, but I don't get it functionally. And this has probably been one of the biggest adventures of me learning about myself emotionally, me learning about myself from a just reactive standpoint of looking at charts and money and dollars. And when there's a lot of money on the line, you are an entirely different person when it comes to just pushing a button to make a decision. And going down that road is like just taught me even more so about just that focus and that paying attention to the thing that you want, because on the other side of it is a very big opportunity. Like it's massive. Everybody right now, the news, losing money and trillions and billions of dollars gone. Well,
Mhm.
weird. I'm making money right now. So like, huh. But wait, everybody's scared because we're losing money. How is somebody making money? Well, I decided to think about the world a little bit differently and learn the skill that would help me during that time, and the upside as well. And like even my friends now are like, all right, I need to start learning this day trading thing to make money. I'm like, you're seeing me 18 months in advance of starting. Know that what I tell you today, like yesterday, I had a really, really good day, right? 2 days ago, really, really good day. Today was like a kind of a boring day. And all my friends like, oh, I lost money. And I'm like, well, that's because you're not there yet. You're a month in. It's gonna happen. You gotta learn. You gotta take time. But that's like my excitement these days of let me focus on this thing, learn this thing. The business side of stuff, my consulting world, I love doing that. I'm good at it. I have a lot of fun, but it was the new challenge for myself that I had to level up, and I'm still working on it. Like I'm not I'm good enough to not lose money anymore, but I'm not good enough to consistently make a bunch of money just yet. Is kind of where I'm
At day trading.
at day trading.
Ah, what I found most interesting about what you shared is it sounds like it's not a particular, there's some skill and techniques to it, but the foundation is your character.
100%.
Yeah. And that takes time and consistency. And with anything in life, like I really believe people's wealth is their character.
Oh yeah.
It's like what's inside you then shows up outside of you.
Yeah. Because it's when you're chasing something and you want to push it's so easy to just sit there and then accidentally lose thousands of dollars in seconds. And then when you lose thousands of dollars, your natural reaction is, let me try it again and get it back. And then you lose more. And before you know it, like I just lost $10,000 in 3 minutes is a very
Yeah.
real scenario. But it just comes down to just being able to the keep the thought process that you should be good at it because somebody else is in check, and know that you have a year and a half journey. But if you can control your emotions, you have good character, you will get there, because you only need to know one thing. Like it is simple from a look at the charts thing. It is absurdly simple. Now that I know it, I'm like, man, that is so like everybody should do this. Like everybody can make $1,000 a day just sitting there following one little thing. But why don't people do it? Because it's not actually easy.
Ah, it's not the technique, it's who you are.
Are you in control?
Ah, in control of.
Yourself.
Yeah. That seems like that applies to so many things in life.
100%. I mean, I think health, right? Like look at being in shape, fitness, all of those components. You don't go to the gym and walk out being fit and in shape and the way you want to look that day. It's consistency over time, right? And I
Hmm.
think opening up that kind of can now, like talk to me about your world of health, what that looks like for you. um we've talked about my races and all that stuff. Races for me were born out of a need to be motivated to keep doing cardio because I just don't enjoy it. I haven't enjoyed it. My first obstacle course race was in 2009, and it was like, all right, well, it's going to force me to practice because I don't want to show up and suck. And now I have fallen in love with that. And now, like, all right, it's just a part of life. It's consistency. But what does your health routine look like? Just anything that you do for yourself to make yourself a better person. And there's the physical side, but there's also the kind of inner healthy side, but also the mental side of that. I mean, in that way too.
Yeah, I mean, from a fitness perspective, I'm a tennis player and I'm primarily a singles tennis player. So that's a fun way to get some cardio. But one thing that I found super interesting, because for a period of time, I took two or so lessons a week from an incredible coach, just a great person, great character. Was a med student, and now does cancer research and is kind of on his journey. But how I was, when I would go play my matches, I was on a women's league. How I would show up on the tennis court would very much mirror how I was showing up in life. And it was a barometer for me. Like if I'm showing up with like that winning energy, like winning is an energy more than a score. If I'm doing my best, I pretty much knew that I was doing like my absolute best in life, right? Giving my all. And then if there were certain particular things that it was like, interesting. This is the particular area where so with tennis, right? You have to recognize the opportunity zone, you analyze it, you recognize, you capitalize. And you first have to learn what that opportunity zone looks like. Kind of maybe with trading, you know what opportunity looks like.
Yep.
Yep. So you recognize, you analyze, and you know how to capitalize. And for an example, where was my breakdown in that process? Was I recognizing? Okay, I was recognizing. But what in me? Okay, I hesitate. If you hesitate, like, you're cooked because things are moving.
Oh yeah.
So, right, it was that maybe in some other area in my life, I was hesitating, I was fearful. So yeah, I play tennis, I lift weights, my son and I in my house eat pretty much just whole foods. I meal prep, and yeah, read a lot of books and try and stay out of trouble.
There you go. So you don't do a ice face plunge thing like is viral on Instagram and social media these days every single morning and all that stuff.
I've seen those, like with the bowl
Yeah.
where they pour cold water in it.
Yep.
Have you done those before?
No. No. I
No, why
I
not?
I have a cold plunge, so on my recovery days where I don't work out, I'm in my cold plunge, but
Ah.
I'm not like just dipping my face in there doesn't feel like it's doing much. Like this is like 5% of my body. So I just I just it doesn't correlate to me. Maybe I'm missing something. I'm sure it's probably good for your skin or something like that, but just not my focus today. Um but yeah, I love my cold plunge. I'm in that at least twice a week to 3 or 4 times depending upon the week.
So you have like the actual cold plunge just dedicated to in your house somewhere.
Oh yeah, down in the basement right next to my sauna. On the days that I work out, I'm in my sauna in the morning and I love that. Get a good sweat going and everything afterwards and then keep going with my day.
Interesting. I've heard good things about it. At my gym, there's one in the men's locker room, and there was a whole debate: should we bring it out in the common area, put one out, which eventually got kiboshed. But that's cold. I mean, that's hard. How long do you stay in there?
5 minutes is usually the amount of time I'll sit in there. So there's actually been some studies done about the cold plunge and the more you force yourself to be able to do things like that, the better it is for you from like a I'm going to completely butcher it, but it's something to do with your brain and the connection to doing hard things and like commitment and stuff like that cuz
Um,
no one enjoys getting into really cold water. But now I can say after doing it for over a year on my rest days like it doesn't suck. I don't mind. It's fine. It's a oddly peaceful 5 minutes now where you're really trying to be at one with your breathing and just be okay.
that speaks to we can get comfortable with even horrible things.
100%.
So be careful what horrible things you get comfortable with.
Yes. Stick to cold plunging as the horrible thing.
Just the cold plunge. Do you ever do any of the Wim Hof breathing?
I have tried breath work maybe 3 or 4 times. I don't enjoy it. I
Okay.
I don't enjoy the experience of that whole thing. I get some of those feelings out of it and everything there. I just for me to truly like decompress and like be me, I need to go throw some weights around and like just that's what makes me feel better. Um and then I go and truly decompress and again either the sauna or the cold plunge, but I feel better after a weightlifting session, not after
Yeah.
like the breathing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you
Do you skip leg day?
Oh no, of course not. No way. I do 2 leg days a week. I got to get a quad dominant day and then a posterior kind of chain hip glute dominant day. So that way I'm working everything.
We got a system.
Got to have a system.
Were you an engineer? Did you go to school for engineering
I
or?
went to school for computer and electrical engineering. Yes.
Okay, you think like an engineer.
Very logical.
Yes, very systematic, very processes, X to Y, like makes
Yeah.
sense.
Spell it out. And that's logic and just kind of move through there. So I'm great. When as somebody comes and they want to complain to me, I am really good at giving you solutions. I am not great at listening to you because I'm like I'm just not good at like, hey, let's just sit and talk and I'll pull in your feelings and everything like that. Like I always have to ask like, are you looking for me to solve your problem or just listen? because I
Mm,
know I can just jump into like, cool, step one, step two, step three, problem done. So
yeah.
definitely not.
I like people like that though.
I,
Let's get to the point.
yes, my personality also lends to that. Like, let's just spell out that path. So
Have you ever taken the Myers-Briggs personality test?
I have done, so not Myers-Briggs. I've done DISC. That's been around for a while. Or no, hold on. Myers-Briggs, is that the one with like 16 different options?
Yes.
Yes. But it was one of the like spin-off names of it. Like the you're like two letters or whatever it is. I don't remember what it is.
Ah,
I'm gonna have to
do
look
you
it up.
remember the name?
No, I'll have to find it.
Ah, bummer.
It's
You
been
just don't want to tell
it's
us.
been years. I don't mind. I don't mind. Have you done it?
Yeah, that's actually what the CIA uses
Okay.
to type people. And I think it's super an incredible insight into people's personalities. And I even read my own when I'm more analytical, kind of similar to you. And some of these more feelings things, we all go through feelings kinds of things, and you have to figure out if you're not your comfort zone, how to deal with it. So I logically reverse engineer my feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in my leadership roles within some of my like companies that I consult for and everything. If there's ever like a feelings conversation, I'm good going into it until somebody cries and I'm just like, "Oh, I
Oh,
don't I don't do well with tears." It's like
oh,
that's when the feelings thing breaks down for me.
oh. You make your people cry?
I mean, it happens once in a while, you know. Listen, real honest feedback and conversations sometimes provoke feelings, it is what it is.
So logical.
Especially in today's world where everybody's a little bit soft, I find.
Yeah.
So, but well, before we wrap up, relationships, that last big piece. So entrepreneurship, like wealth, you've obviously talked about the things that you're doing, real estate, all of those components. Obviously, we've heard about the fitness and health side of your world. But like what about relationships? And I know for me, I'm very much a meet people in person kind of person. Like I love masterminds, I love going to events, and that's where my network has always grown. But as I spend more time working and working and working, this podcast has actually become one of my main drivers of creating new relationships, new connections, new friends. But like, what does relationships in your world look like? Do you spend a lot of time with friends like at home and whatnot? Because I know me, as I continue, my friend circle at home keeps getting smaller and smaller. It's not intentional, but it's definitely happening. And it's just a weird world of relationships because it's, I don't know, in 2025 when a lot of people meet through a computer, through phones, you never know. So what does relationships in your world look like? How do you grow your connections? How do you meet new people? What does that look like?
Yeah, I really meet people primarily who are on pursuing similar goals as me. Whether we're playing tennis together or I make friends out at the gym, right? You have conversations. My gym has a rooftop pool, and that's kind of where people are like, oh, yeah, I saw you down on the fitness floor, and everybody's getting some sun. Um, just through normal day-to-day activities, because kind of like you, if it doesn't fit in alignment with my goals, you're not going to find me doing it. And I'm an introvert, a hardcore introvert, and I love my alone time so much. I
Mhm.
cherish it so deeply.
I was I had 4 days of meetings last week. 2 days were leadership, and then 2 days were students of one of my clients. And you're just in a room talking to people all day long. I couldn't wait to go back to my room and just literally sit on the edge of the bed and just stare. I don't even want to say I was staring at the wall. I was just blankly staring straight forward just for the quiet and decompression of having
Yeah.
to talk to everybody all day long.
Yes. Are you an introvert too?
I can flex pretty well. I would say I'm more like amnivert, like I'm truly identify in the center. I need my downtime and like my alone time, but like I can go pretty hard extrovert and be the life of the party, but I have to turn that on to make it happen.
Okay, so you recharge from more being alone. That's where you
Yeah.
feel you recharge?
Yeah.
Okay, so you lean a little more
Oh,
introverted,
yeah,
kinda similar to
100%.
me.
I'd so
Yeah,
much rather sit inside, make my own dinner, chill, watch some TV, and just enjoy than, like, go
yeah.
out and do things, but I can go out and do things and have fun.
You know, I wonder if that's also partially so since I turned 30, I'll be 32 this year, but, it's shifted a little bit even more so for me, but it I wonder if that's part of it too.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't think 20-year-old Steve would have been like, "I wanna sit by my computer by myself and learn to day trade." And now I'm just like, "Let me turn some music on and, like, get into those charts and have some fun," and that's, like, enjoyable.
Yes. Yeah, it kinda changes as our life phase changes.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I just as I live my life, I meet great people, and you just know when there's like a alignment
yep,
with people in your life, and yeah, you can just like have a there's like a resonance. You have really cool conversations, and you just become really good friends with people. So yeah, I have a lot of good people in my life, but more tight knit. Like less is more in my world.
for sure. Focus on the few, the ones that are meaningful, and they're usually aligned with stuff that you enjoy and wanna get better at anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get it. Well, Marissa, if anybody wants to find you, get in touch with you, where's the best place to go? What's one of your big focuses in your that you're working on today? Like, let's bring this all to a good wrap up here. Like, what's the focus? And yeah, how can I get in touch?
So I mean, if you search my name on any social media, Marissa Simonetti, just one R, one S, you'll find me. And my focus on social media is positive things more than any political arguing. The rest of my day, I'm gonna decompress, and then my son gets off the school bus, and we're hanging out.
There you go.
So, gonna go work out together. You got a great kid center. How about you?
Rest of the day is a couple of client calls, I think two more, and just getting some work done. So Wednesdays are a longer, slightly later day, but and then after that, one of my buddies is just coming over and just gonna have some dinner and just kind of chill for a little bit until bedtime at like 8:15, 8:30. So make it a really wild
Lovely.
night.
Wild night all the way to
All the
8:15.
way to 8:15.
I love that though. I love
So
that.
well, Marissa, thank you so much for the time. Everybody absolutely is going to enjoy getting to chat with you, listen, and everything else. I know some people are going to search, but again, for me, more than anything else, appreciate it. Like I said, I was looking forward to learning,
Yeah.
and I did. So you brought some value, and for that, I am very appreciative. Thank you.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you, Stu.